Yeah, I mean, this project overall, the budget has just blown up in my face in just a really dramatic way. It was incredible to watch him work and just the amount of precision that he had. Dun, 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 dun. Before winter gets here, we absolutely have to put in windows. And of course, circling back to this whole entire budget thing, we didn't account for that problem whatsoever. Before we knew it, the month of June was over, and my mom was about to head back to Los Angeles. We spent our last week savoring our time together and every amazing Italian meal. Welcome back to our renovation in Tuscany. If it's your first time joining us, take a look inside our villa and explore our previous videos at the top right. Summer is here and we're already halfway through 2023. Let's dive into life here in Tuscany this past week. The first project that we kind of tackled when we were away on vacation was the garden.
Yeah, the tree cleaning, removing some trees. So it was really cool to be here. What was it, the next day? 2 days after we came back.
It was within a few days of us coming back. He was here on a Sunday and he felled those 2 trees, which was incredible to watch him. For the second tree, Roland put on his special harness to climb the tree and cut small pieces before cutting it down, so it wouldn't cause any damage. It was really cool to see him do the final cut, and how he strapped it onto the other tree.
Yeah, he anchored it to another tree so that way, because you don't want the tree falling on hard landscaping because you could crack a rock. You want to protect anything as much as you can, the chicken coop, the hard landscaping. It's just more secure to do it that way, but it was, I think, really cool to see him do that.
And with that, that's going to be the last of what we're going to be doing. We had to go ahead and cut those trees because of structural problems and all of those things. They're dead, it's not safe. So we did that, and we stretched ourselves a little further than we had wanted to financially. So that's the other reason why we're completely halting on the garden. We won't be doing any landscaping this year whatsoever. I've been heading this project as far as the finances are going, making sure that we're allocating our budget in the correct way. We have to complete these projects before the end of the year because we will be getting a portion of what we're spending back in tax credit. And there's a time frame on that that is very hard. Once we got back, we had a meeting with our plumber and our contractor to finalize the contract for the new heating and cooling system. In Europe, the heating systems are extremely different from the US.
Yeah, so in the US, you have obviously central heating and air conditioning. Here, since everything is basically made out of stone, everything is individual units for individual rooms. I'm sure if some of you guys have traveled to other countries, I kind of like the benefit of having it all individual, because then one room's on, one room's off, instead of in America, every room is on. You know.
We had the option of spending a ridiculously enormous amount of money on a fully electrical system. That was very expensive, but if you install that, you install solar panels. And we have a very large roof. It was perfect. It was the perfect situation for solar panels. But unfortunately, we couldn't use that government program and get the financing in order to front the money for that system. We had to resort to a plan B, which was splitting up the heating according to each floor. So the new heating system will be running off of electricity and gas, which means we have to install a new gas line. We have no gas in this property.
So previously, the way that they heated this property was through diesel, which is very
it's a very antiquated system of heating.
Yeah, so you needed a diesel motor in the bottom of your basement to heat the whole house, and obviously that is not environmental friendly, as well as costly.
So I thought I'd take you to the old heating system downstairs in the basement to have a look at it. Come on. Dun, 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 dun. Here it is. So this heating system only ran a total of 48 hours in the whole entire time that it has lived here, which is since 1964. So it still even has its old tags on there. You can see the unit here where it says exactly how much time it's ran. And you can see the new plumbing that is going up around it that they installed for the bottom floor. One of the most important components of the new heating and cooling system is the water filtration system.
The biggest problem here is the calcium. It's very hard.
Yes, and he gave us the example that if you boil water, using water here, that you can just see the sediment already building up in that pot. He made sure to tell us this is what you cannot skimp out on, because if you get calcium buildup, if you get sediment buildup, it is going to start to slowly destroy your system that you're spending all of this money on. For me, it was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of grinding my teeth at night and stressing out over this enormous expense that we had previously thought we were going to get financing for.
That's the biggest point.
I wanted to allocate that money in a different way, not for design purposes, but for other things that we wanted to do in the house, like the bathrooms that are necessary to do. When you're talking about having workers on site and they're going to be opening up channels and walls, you can't do that twice. It's a one-time shot thing because you're drilling into the walls, creating electrical channels, creating plumbing channels, and then you're refilling the walls and painting over. There's no second shot at that.
No, nor would you want that, because having to go through all the banging and the rock falling, for them and for us, it's best for them to do it once.
Yeah. I mean, this project overall, the budget has just blown up in my face in just a really dramatic way. The next part was the electricity, but I have to say, when I spoke with the geometra, our contractor, when we first were purchasing the property and we were figuring out, okay, well, how much is this reconstruction really gonna cost us? What is the bare minimum that we can get by with to respect some sort of a budget? We realized, luckily before we purchased the property, that we had to redo the electricity. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it because the wires are from 1960.
Yeah.
And they are very thin and they can catch fire.
Yeah, a lot of the power outlets right now are exposed, like in the bedroom we sleep in. There's no wall cover, you know, where you plug it in. It's exposed. It's I'm not going to say sketchy, but it's not ideal. And so we try not to touch it at all. We just try and leave it because a lot of things are active. When they took everything out of the villa, which the previous videos show how full everything was, they took everything almost. They ripped the lights out of the walls with the wires still attached. So a lot of the wires are literally just filaments of the wires, and they're live.
He told us it was extremely dangerous. Do not touch them.
They're fine as they are now, but yeah, don't mess
touch
with them. Yeah.
The thing that he told me is, don't run more than one appliance at a time. It's difficult, it's limiting. You have to be very strategic with the way that you live, the way that you have to do things. You have to be very aware, and you can't blindly go ahead and do something, especially when it comes to the electricity. I'm sure once we are able to use a couple appliances at the same time, we'll feel the difference. The windows. The windows. We have to install windows before it gets cold.
I swear, this video is not us complaining. This is just because we want to be sure, we want to let everybody know, I guess, of the stages. This house is in multiple stages at the moment.
It's very tiered in the way that it's working. And also, this is the reason why I was stressing over the budget. These are major things that we have to consider, and some of these things we hadn't planned to do right off the get-go.
Luckily, this house is built really well. We're not worried about the
structural,
roof. The roof, but the windows is what I get nervous of sometimes because they're so thin, and the train passes by at night. Just the train passing by, the windows reverberate. It's
and you think they're gonna break.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna shatter. The whole entire time that this house has been alive and been here, the shutters have been covering the windows. They have not been exposed to the elements. Now that we're here, we have the shutters rolled up. We're trying to live in the house.
Yeah.
And also we opened up a lot of the windows.
Yeah.
Yes, we opened up 4 new windows on the bottom floor itself that were already pre-existing.
But had concrete on the inside. We showed that in a previous video, I'm sure.
Yes.
Which is a unique thing we've never seen before, but
we've never seen that before.
We're very happy though that they're here, because if they were not in the plans, you typically cannot open new windows in Italy. So for us, thank God they installed the windows with concrete on the inside so that we're able to open them.
As you saw in the previous video, Loredan had opened up those windows that are on the back side of the house, which means before winter gets here, we absolutely have to put in windows. Otherwise, the new heating system is pointless.
And we'll do portions at a time, because like Andrea said, if you were to, how many windows do we have?
I think in total we have 40 windows.
Is that including doors too?
No, that is not including doors.
Yeah, just 40 windows.
So we can only do a limited amount, and we're only going to do the ones that are absolutely necessary, like the ones where we had opened up and, you know, there is no window that exists there. Rob always has my back, and he tells me it's gonna be okay. Even though I'll be freaking out, and I've grown God knows how many white hairs in this whole entire process of figuring out the budgeting, but I know that we'll get there.
Yeah, I think we've said it before, this is our first reconstruction of any house, and I know that it comes to this where unexpected things will always happen in life. And for me, I just want to try and handle it as calmly as possible, because that's the situation. If you guys have any suggestions, please, leave them in the comments of reconstructions you guys have had to go through, because it helps us, hearing from other people.
Yeah.
What you guys have gone through, what our friends have gone through, and yeah, leave them in the comments below what you guys have gone through. Any helpful tips you guys have.
Rooney decided to join us. He's always hanging around, and
he was laying right here, but yeah.
The bug situation. As you saw in our previous video, which we will link here, you guys went ahead and chimed in and told us that possibly it was woodworm. We have to sort this problem, and I realized that it is not enough for my mom and I to try and clean out that furniture and apply that solution.
Well, it might have worked, but it takes time to know.
We already contacted the professionals. We will have somebody come and do an assessment to make sure that we completely rid ourselves of that problem. My mom and I applied the solution to those furniture pieces.
The doors.
We completely covered them up, and we left them in the basement away from any other wood that could get infected with these little critters. We repeatedly went back each and every day after we had applied the solution, and we didn't see any little dead bugs around the furniture, but like Robert said, it could take a few weeks for that to happen, so we're gonna leave them there. I will wait for the professional to get here to make an assessment as to how bad it really is. And of course, circling back to this whole entire budget thing, we didn't account for that problem whatsoever.
Now, I think with you guys doing that work, you don't see as much. I think
No.
this house has been abandoned for so long that I think there's problems regardless. And now since it's warmer, I think these bugs are waking up. So they're
Yes.
becoming more active at night.
I need to make sure that this problem is under control and that these bugs don't end up attacking the new kitchen furniture,
Yeah.
which would be my ultimate worst nightmare. Before we knew it, the month of June was over, and my mom was about to head back to Los Angeles. We spent our last week savoring our time together and every amazing Italian meal. On her last day, we took my mom to a sandy beach where we could enjoy the sun, sand, and most importantly, one last epic seafood lunch. A renovation is never simple, and the budget has to be adjusted as new priorities arise. Regardless of what's to come our way with this large renovation project in a foreign country, we'll continue to support each other and keep you along this journey with us. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave us a comment. We love hearing your thoughts on our villa restoration in Tuscany.